Good day, everyone. In social conversations, you might bring up video games to garner as a common interest or express your ideas and what you're passionate about. However, just as there are good conversation starters, there are topics that you should not bring up if you want to keep your reputation and conversation going. And thus, a wise person should be aware of what turns off people the most. In this video, I'll limit my scope to video games developed or published by US-based company Valve. I chose this scope as it has various games considered as classics in the first-person shooter, platformer, or multiplayer online battle arena or MOBA genres. I'll mention the game series chronologically, and I'll limit my thoughts to within 250 words. Please participate in this discussion board by providing a 250-word insight, critique, or question to this video. Half-Life is a sci-fi single-player first-person shooter, and it's the first game developed by Valve. It features MIT physicist Gordon Freeman, who never speaks and shoots aliens, marine war criminals, and CIA agents. The game has been considered a classic for its show-not-tell storytelling, immersive puzzles, and complex ones in fact, and being set in New Mexico. This description is interesting in its own, to pique questions on what pulled you into it and what other interests sparked from Half-Life. For example, did you turn out to be a fan of sci-fi because of Half-Life? The only thing that might turn them off is war trivia. It's that they added physics in the CIA assassins, and they scrapped out the hot spring scene for Gordon Freeman. Half-Life is considered a hit or miss game series to bring up in a conversation. It's either that your friends or your conversation partner would not know what Half-Life is, and it's okay. Or you guys would click and have the same taste of weirdness. Still, Half-Life and the two expansions Posing Force and Blue Shift are socially acceptable video games to play for their reputation. Half-Life 2 and the other episodes, which follow Gordon being transported into a desolate hell known as Eastern Europe and fighting an intergalactical tyranny, would have the same verdict. It's a cool topic actually, but you won't lose anything if you guys don't know anything about it. Team Fortress Classic is a modification of Half-Life, where you play as a team then fight against each other in different game modes. It's the predecessor of Team Fortress 2, but it's less known than Half-Life or Team Fortress 2, which I'm gonna mention later, with its all-time peak of online players being less than 300. Since TFCS, to be gentle, niche, the topic does not repel women. If raised, it can either bring a desirable outcome at a near impossible rate, or lead to a 10-second awkward silence before either of you ask how the climate's been changing as small talk. Day of Defeat is a first-person shooter released in 2003, but you can only play it in multiplayer. Game reviews praised Day of Defeat for its map design, but it's an old game in Gold Source, the game engine developed by Valve, which the previous games I've mentioned uses, and it also has just a plain color tone. If someone would say they played Day of Defeat, this would probably raise a few questions. Why pay for a 20-year-old World War II shooter specifically? Who did you play this obscure game with? As the game is a niche one, and having played the game implies that you used your hard-received money when you could have spent it on salad shows what personality you have. Playing Day of Defeat is an inconsequential and forgettable infraction for a woman you're interested with. Although the answer is predictable here, I like to provide the basis for my answer. Dota 2, or just Dota, is a staple for internet cafes in my country, and these internet cafes are filled with boys, typically teenagers or pre-adolescents, who have no other space to be in. They would always cuss at each other with no bounds over gameplay Dota. It's even known to cause conflicts among relationships, which serves as the premise of a song popular in the late 2000s and onwards, about a student facing the dilemma of choosing a romantic partner or a few more hours in Dota. This is a given automatic women repel. Next up is Counterstrike. Counterstrike is also a modification for Half-Life. Here, you either play as a counter-terrorist or a terrorist team. It's a simple retro game you play with your buddies. The original 1998 Counter-Strike is a nice game, won't repel people unless you spend 3,000 hours on it. The other recent Counter-Strike games, however, stand a smaller chance of a date. You pay for skins in this game, that stinks. You spend your teenage years trying your gun onto strangers instead of improving your social conversation skills. That's lame. It's been associated with salty voice chats, money laundering, and gambling. So, we can say that aside from the original Counter-Strike, which was a mod for Half-Life, it's a red flag. Team Fortress 2 is a team-based multiplayer game. The art style and writing is cartoon-like and appeals to everyone. The gameplay is dynamic in a way that you can play 9 different classes, and so you can use a lot of strategies here, and it's also a good casual and competitive game. But there are types of Team Fortress 2 players, however. Gay and homophobic, or casual. Even if the gameplay is appealing, no well-functioning person spends 5,000 hours on Man vs. Machine or Harvest. Even though the Team Fortress 2 characters may be handsome, all the TF2 players made them gay anyways. In a way, every man is attracted to each other in Team Fortress 2 servers, such that there is no space for them to interact with women. But there's a chance you can't miss. If they're a gooner just as you are, Team Fortress 2 will attract them. But if not, Team Fortress 2 is an automatic red flag as it signifies that you have no social conversation skills. Portal is a 2007 puzzle platform game where you experiment with creating different portals with your portal gun to deal with artificial intelligence. It has a great story, which spoiling it would make you appreciate Portal more, so I leave it to you as an exercise. Likewise, it's almost 20 years old, so it still holds as a classic. There's no disgusting joke or demeaning fan service or poorly executed moment. I add Portal, Half-Life, and Left 4 Dead, which is the next one, as good conversation starters and keepers. It will never repel men and women. Left 4 Dead is another first-person shooter, where you fight against zombies to go to a safe zone in the US East Coast. It's considered as one of the best games for its great zombie player AI, since in the game's single-player mode, you're accompanied by 3 other teammates. And it's a
barricade your home.
It has a cool premise and nice action, so it's really a cool topic to bring up while the conversation is going. You can also relate it to anecdotes in your childhood. In summary, Left 4 Dead can in no way repel women, unless the people you're talking to are famous.
Kill all sons of bitches. That's my official instruction.
Okay, so that's about it. Just please like and subscribe to my channel. As I've mentioned previously, you guys are required to provide a 250-word insight, critique, or question to this video. If you have any questions, please contact me in the YouTube comments or via email. Thank you all.